Dan Williams, Survive Outdoors, where we do wilderness medicine videos, how to keep you safe in the outdoors. If you do get injured, how to get back safely. We talk about all kinds of critters, and we do gear reviews. A little bit on my background. I'm a physician assistant of 43 years. I've done a lot of wilderness medicine presentations, off and on for about 20 to 25 years. Southern Illinois country boy, but educated out on the East Coast. Albert Einstein College of Medicine, NYU, Brooklyn, you name it, variety of different places. We are going to address today the mass confusion in the healthcare field of how do you treat Lyme disease. And we're going to talk about why that happened and why it's still happening. Before we do that, we're going to talk about the rules of the giveaway. So this pick here is what we're giving away. We're giving away this 32-ounce water bottle, double-walled, keeps things really cold, and some bandages and Adaptic for burns. So that is going to be given away next week. To win that, you need to like the video, subscribe if you're not subscribed. That's imperative. I'll check on that, and then make some comment down below. You could say, hey, how you been? You could say, have you had Lyme? If you have had Lyme disease or some type of tick illness, that would be great. Share that with the audience. So that's helpful. So like it and comment below. And if you're not subscribed, subscribe. We will pick next week and we'll find out who won. So every month we do a giveaway. All right. So once again, here we are with treatment of Lyme. And the reason why I am bringing this up is for a few reasons. A month ago, I did a video on the government conspiracy of Lyme disease. Is there one? Okay, so we targeted that. And I had a screenshot of the CDC treatment recommendations. Now, did they see my video? I highly doubt that. It's just coincidental. But they have changed their website on Lyme disease, the CDC has. So here's where we're at. In 2001, the Infectious Disease Society of America, IDSA, did a study, a shabby study at that, about 450 patients. What they did is they looked at the rash that you get with Lyme disease, and they had one group who basically was the control group, and the other group, these individuals had the rash, and they treated them with one dose of doxy, that's 200 milligrams. Could be two 100 milligram tablets, but all at one time. And then they looked at that, and the rash went away fairly profoundly. And then they followed them at 3 weeks and 6 weeks, but they didn't do follow-up labs, which is interesting. Now, the rash goes away anyway. And the other issue is the rash is only present in about 60% of patients. So 30 to 40% of patients, they never get the rash. What's confusing to me, this study wasn't that great at all. The confidence interval on that study, and if you know statistics and analytics, a confidence interval is basically they look at the mean plus or minus, and how can I explain this? So a confidence interval, if I tell you I want you to walk to this oak tree and it's going to take you about 10 minutes to walk to this oak tree, and you're going to take this one path straight to that oak tree, that confidence interval is really high because there's one path that's a direct shot. However, if I give you path A, path B, path C, down the valley and around the hill, and I say, look, you're going to get there, it may take you, I don't know, 20 minutes. Well, that's a very low confidence interval. Their confidence, you want the confidence interval to be like the 90-95% range. Their confidence interval was like 5% to, no, it was 25% to 90%. That is massively wide. All kinds of errors with this study. Subsequently, some very reputable groups, organizations, and physicians out there, like this, you're going to see right here, one of the most egregious and dangerous recommendations by the IDSA is the use of a single dose of doxy to prevent the development of Lyme disease when given within 72 hours of a tick bite. That's only one. Here's another one. And routine antimicrobial prophylaxis is not indicated after tick bite. Now, the rules and regulations, according to the IDSA, on when do you give one dose of doxy, there's these criteria. One, and they're very strict. You have to identify the tick. It has to be a deer tick, the black-legged deer tick, East Coast, West Coast, but it has to be that deer tick. It has to be in a highly endemic area. Well, what does that mean? What if you're 2 counties over and a guy comes in, hey, I got this deer tick. So it has to be in a high endemic area. The tick has to be on you for 36 hours, and you can only give that dose within 72 hours after the tick is removed. If you meet all those criteria, according to the IDSA, you get one dose, you're good to go. Here's the problem. The rash goes away anyway. Certain percentage of people don't get the rash, and they didn't do the follow-up. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of clinicians that are not abiding by the one-dose doxy, reasonably so. So how does this affect you? Well, we're going to get to that. But we have to look at benefit versus risk. Benefit versus risk to the patient, i.e. you. So the benefit is what? We want to get you better. And this antibiotic does work. Doxy's been around for a while. What is the risk? The risk is if I give you one dose of doxy and we know they didn't follow up with the study, they did it 3 and 6 weeks, how do I know that you're going to be taken care of if you have Lyme? I'm much more comfortable in giving you 2 weeks of doxy, and I feel much better that your resolution is going to be good. So we always look at benefit risk. Let's look at liability for my healthcare providers out there. I've done over 100 court testimonies, probably 30 of those as an expert witness for PAs when they get sued. And one of the things that legally they look at is what is the standard of care? The standard of care is not a medical term, it is a legal term. So the standard of care is the duty, I'll just read it here, that the provider owed to the patient, there was no harm intended or neglect, and what would have been the cost to prevent that from happening. So if a provider gives someone just 2 tablets of the doxycycline, and that person they relapse or not get better, and they have chronic Lyme, or that Lyme, basically the symptoms spike and come back at 8 weeks, let's say they have cardiac symptoms. How are you going to address that? God forbid if you get sued on the stand. Well, look, hey, it was on the CDC. Do you always base your treatment on the CDC? Is that what you do? Do you always base your treatment? Were you not taught to look at the complete patient holistically, how they present? What were their symptoms? Did you see the tick? So this could fall to the wayside and be a bad outcome in many cases. So for you guys who are non-medical, if you get bit by a tick, if it's a deer tick, if the provider offers you 2 doses, tell them, you don't feel comfortable with that. You can explain why and say, I would feel much better having a 10 to 14 day course. And for my providers out there, hey, I'm not going to tell you how to practice, but I am saying that I am not doing one dose of doxy based on those criteria. When docs and PAs and NPs get out of school, the first thing they do is they want to know, how am I going to treat this person? And they're looking it up, and they're going to pull up their phone, and they're filing, and they look at, oh, this is how I'm going to treat it. Big sigh of relief, type, and they're treated. As you get years under your belt, as an old Yale infectious disease guy taught me out in the East Coast, you don't care about how that's going to come. You want to know why. Why do you have to treat the person this way? So I hope that helps. Non-medical, hey, my suggestion is don't do the one dose, 10 to 14. That's how I'm treating my patients, even if they meet those 4 criteria. Until I see a better study that's done or a replication of that study that pans out, then I might be all in. But at this point, I'm not. And for my healthcare providers out there, ask yourself, why? Why is this controversy going on? Why was this study shabby? All right, guys. Hope that helps. Don't forget put your name, like it, subscribe. We're going to do the giveaway next week. We got all kinds of cool stuff coming up. Spider bite, that is awesome. We're going to talk about home remedies of spider bites, different types of plants, all coming up. Keep your eyes on the rise and your face to the wind. I will see you next time.